Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, sorry, just had to pull an audible because the first live broadcast completely messed up. So hopefully now you tuned into this one. We had a couple of viewers even, and yeah, it was just really weird. I could hear myself and see things happen that weren't happening. So, well, not see things, but hear things that happen. So if you're new to Android Weekly, we go over the weekly news every week on what happened in the mobile universe, and a couple of big things happened this week. I also try to do a live broadcast today from my Note 5. However, that had to be canceled due to it not being able to work with YouTubers that already have live broadcasting as a feature. So that was stopped. I had to stop that. So sorry about that. Some lag going on. Hopefully everything else is fine now. Okay, so let's go over the news that happened during the week. And the biggest one that got my ears interested was definitely by far that the Note 5 Active could actually happen. Coming in November, supposedly. This is done by two sources that Phone Arena got, and it's really interesting to see what is going on. So essentially, that there will be an active version of the Note 5 exclusively with AT&T, as all actives have been. And this one will be IP68 waterproof certification, and it will be arriving in week 46. So for those of you who don't know, the week 46, let me just double check. I believe that is the second week in November. Yes, so most likely it would be released November 13th if this would be true. Now, I'm pretty curious to see if this would be true. I just don't see why. The Active series has done well, but not really that well. The S6 Active, from what I've heard from most AT&T stores, hasn't done absolutely great or anything like that. Most people haven't picked it. So I'm really interested, if you had the option of an S6 Active, would you get it? I have said already before that I would recommend it per se over a regular S6. So would you get the S6 Active if it was available as well? Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think? Do you think this is real, first of all? And if it is, would you get it? Second thing is Samsung released a really interesting thing, and that is the Samsung Test Drive. So essentially what this is still going on really, that you can actually test a Samsung smartphone if you're an iPhone user and basically get it for free. Thing is as you can see at the bottom, and as was reported literally 24 hours after it happened, that Samsung ran out of Galaxy test phones. And so the demand was really high. It was basically, if you own an iPhone, you only pay $1 and you get a S6 Edge Plus or Note 5 to test out for 30 days. And if you don't like it, you send it back, free shipping. All it was charged was $1 to you. That's pretty impressive, and there's no reason why an iPhone user really shouldn't try it out and just see how it is on the other side. I think it's a really great thing, but the fact that they ran out so quickly either shows that they weren't prepared for how many iPhone users really would try this out, or they weren't prepared for just how many phones that they really expected to get released this way. So hopefully they replenish very quickly, because this is something that I think would do very well. My guess is we'll see some back in tomorrow. All right, speaking of the Apple and Samsung battle, it might be finally over. Yes, Samsung, because the U.S. Patent Office just overturned the Apple design patent, basically that means that Samsung would no longer have to pay Apple any money. Now, the appeals court already denied Samsung this before this had happened. So now Samsung will take it all the way to the Supreme Court. And really, if there is justice, since the patent is already considered invalid, Samsung shouldn't have to pay the $500 million that was remaining, and which means that Apple would get paid nothing after over 3 years of legal litigations. That's right, this has been going on since the Galaxy S3 launch. So yeah, it's really interesting to see that if after 3 years of all this legal arguments that Apple gets nothing whatsoever. I think that would be hilarious, quite frankly. So yes, this is all said and done, and we'll see what happens in the Supreme Court. Not to mention that Apple Music is a failure. Yes, that's right. Over 48% of people have already quit and already said that they will not be continuing the free trial as soon as Apple ends. However, and not to mention that those surveyed, 28% already paying for Spotify. So it seems that just really a lot of people have not turned to this. It's really kind of interesting. I thought, the Beats One radio would do a little bit well, but even like exclusive albums like Compton, although it came to Apple Music first, is now already at every other music store. So it doesn't look like Apple Music will make as big of an impact as Apple probably wanted. And then also the Nexus 5 prototype was leaked. That's right, we have a Nexus 5. Now this is the LG version. There's supposed to be an LG and a Huawei version. And really with this one, this was a schematic that we had seen the day before, and then this is a final build. So we can see that there is a heart rate sensor down below, and that there is the laser focus that LG is known for. Really ugly camera hump. I just wish it would have like a little metal ring or something just like this one, just to kind of match better, but it doesn't. Hopefully that will be added before the final build. This is a prototype, of course, but apparently this is supposed to be launched at the end of October, which means that we're going to start seeing phones with Android Marshmallow come more likely in December. So we do have that to look forward to. All right. Now, I did dig up some questions that I did have to pick last minute. I didn't even get to email the people letting them know how to answer these questions, just because, again, because of the live broadcasting issue, it was such a mess recording this. So the first question comes from Ade Kunli. You're an avid watcher, so hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry if I didn't. But you asked, that I convinced you to get the Note 5. You were gonna get the Note 4. How do I get the Note 5 to work normally and perfectly in the UK, since Samsung isn't releasing the phone here? Are you sure about the longevity of the battery life on the Note 5? Is it actually better than the Note 4? So first off, yes, the battery life is better than the Note 4. So that I can confirm myself. It is definitely, it just lasts so much longer. I had a friend recently come from the Note 4 to this one, and he has not regretted it in the slightest. He is amazed by how much faster it is, as well as the battery life is good, and he definitely drains his battery life all the way down. Like he will try to use the battery with the camera. He will get a third-party camera app just to launch the camera app when he's at like 5% or 10%. So yes, he's impressed by the battery itself. As opposed to, will it work perfectly in the UK? So here's the thing. In the UK, you should still be able to go to Samsung Mobile's website and get the international version of the Note 5. You should still be able to do that. However, it's kind of depends on which country you're buying it from, really. I mean, there are places that you can buy that send phones internationally. And I used to have a couple of them. I don't know if I have any of them off the top of my head. I can't think of one off the top of my head right away. There was one that had sent a couple of phones in before, and I just can't remember it. But yeah, so there are phones that do give that ability, that sell internationally, and that are able to sell you those phones regardless. I was just looking at all these. Nope, they're gone. Okay, Nigeria Electronics is one of them, but they're gone. Basically, there are certain websites you can get phones internationally from. I would assume even Amazon, like UK, would allow you to buy it. It would be a more expensive price though, and that's really the thing is like how can you get it for a less expensive price is more the question. So yeah, that is the question. I know if you were in the States, you could purchase it from say a T-Mobile or an AT&T. An AT&T, as long as it was active for a month, you could basically take it overseas, pay for it whole. So you would have to pay for the entire price of the phone, and then you can get it unlocked. Same with T-Mobile. If you paid it full, you can get it unlocked. So that would be the requirement, though, for those phones. All right. Question from Nick. Nick asks, does the Note 5 have MHL support because the Note 4 does and the S6 does not? No, the Note 5 does not have MHL support. That was one of the first things I tested out, and mine does not. Mine is the international version. I haven't tried it on the US version, just to clarify, but no, I doubt in any way, shape, or form that the Note 5 is MHL. I don't know what they were thinking of getting rid of it. That was one thing that I just will be on my worst features of the Note 5 as soon as I record that video. But yeah, it really was sad to see that go. And it's just, look, MHL is still a better direct connection. So I really wish that Samsung would bring that back because no matter what, it's still better than Wi-Fi Direct. Although Wi-Fi Direct has come a long way. It's a lot clearer now than it used to be even a year ago. It has improved, but it's just not at the same level as direct connection yet. She asked, what's best use? Adrilia? I hope I'm pronouncing that again. A Jackson, your longtime viewer, you have asked, what is the best security app I recommend? I don't mind if I have to pay. Well, to be honest, I actually don't recommend any security app. I think they're all full of it. So yeah, most security apps actually slow down your phone tremendously. And if you buy apps from the Google Play Store, you can't get a virus. The only times you get viruses on Android is if you download apps outside of the Google Play Store. Now, if you do that, then yes, you can get one. Samsung, depending on your carrier, has a Samsung Smart Manager on the Note 5. So if you do get the Note 5 and you can use that built in, I believe only Verizon doesn't have it, possibly AT&T. I know Verizon does not, though. The Smart Manager will allow you to actually be able to install Samsung's like security software if you must use that one. But if not, I don't have one on mine. If that puts any indication of how much stock I give to those, yeah. All right. Now the last question of the day comes from Dennard, and I was thinking about getting the Edge Plus. My concern is buying it that I haven't seen a tempered glass screen protector for the Edge phones. Do you have any? Do you know if anyone has made them? And if so, have they made them for the Edge Plus? All right. So there are 3 that I immediately found when looking for the S6 Edge. However, these were not for the S6. Whoa. Really? I thought, okay. Okay, 2. I guess this one just changed out. So yeah, there that goes. All right, so there was 2 that I found right away. First one can be purchased from mobilefun.com, and it is this one right here. So this is the product reference number if you wanted to take a look at it. But Olixar has one made for it. So you can get this, and I believe they had the black and white one. I'm not sure if they had the gold one as well, but it is a tempered glass screen protector for it, and it looks like it's been pretty high rated. So it's what a lot of people were looking for. They do not have one yet listed for the Edge Plus, but I'm assuming if they made one for the Edge, they should be able to make one for the Edge Plus. And then we also have this one, Skinomi. Skinomi Tech Glass, they do have a black tempered glass screen protector for the S6 Edge, and it is also rated pretty high. It's mostly 5 stars, so it has been rated pretty high in terms of the screen protector. And it looks like it's done pretty well. So yeah, it should be pretty good. It's a little thicker than from what I've seen, but again, it's glass screen protection, so you want it to make sure that it's pretty durable. So those would be the different type of screen protectors you can find for the S6 Edge. So those, again, they're not many, and they're not like the brands like you might see in stores, like OtterBox, for instance, as well as, of course, what's the big one? Zag. They haven't seen any of those yet. All right, looks like we have some questions from some of our regulars, so let's get to them and answer them. All right, Danny. What's up, Danny Shin? I haven't used Samsung since the S3. How fast is software updates these days? I use Verizon, and they seem to always be the slowest. You'd be surprised, actually. Verizon actually got the quickest on Android. I don't know if it was Android 5.0 or 5.1, but Verizon was actually the quickest. And I was like, what the? Verizon's deal supposed to be the slowest. What the hell? For your second question, have I tried Samsung Pay yet? It seems to be a killer feature to me. Let's just say that a non-disclosure keeps me from discussing it. However, the concept of Samsung Pay, I can't speak on that. The concept of Samsung Pay is pretty awesome. So yeah. What year do you think bendable display phones and tablets are coming out? You know, apparently that is a project that was even rumored to come out this year from Samsung. It was called Project V, from what my sources have told me. And it seemed like it wasn't ready yet, at least not for this launch with the Note series, right? Whether that will be ready by Q1 of next year or whether they just decided to push it off entirely is a possibility. That one was supposed to be, from what I heard, supposed to be the phone tablet. Like it's a tablet that bends into a phone, which obviously would be very impressive. The thing is one thing with that technology, why we haven't seen it as much yet, is simply because of this. Bendable screens is one thing, but do you have bendable batteries? How do you make this whole process work? Well, the thing is you have to lower the cost, because would people really buy a $1,500 phone? I mean, people complain right now about paying $25 to $35 a month on their smartphone, right? Because now you can't buy the smartphone on 2-year contracts anymore. You're buying them on monthly payments. So if we were to have a phone that's $1,500, to take Samsung's cost into effect, divided by 24, that's $63 a month, basically 62.50 a month. That would be very costly, and it's why we don't have bendable screens yet on the market. So that's, yeah, really interesting. Now, can you use wireless charging with all phone cases? So Kronos, the only cases you cannot use with wireless charging are metal cases. OtterBox cases, even as thick as that, wireless charging still works. It does seem to run a little bit slower, I will say, though. So it is a bit slowed down. However, it does indeed work. Now, will it work with metal cases? No, metal does block the connection. So you cannot use a metal case with that. So that's important to know. It would be cool to have a rollable TV. Absolutely, it would be cool to have a rollable TV. That is actually not too far away for the rich. That is coming. LG and Samsung have that one coming. That one is actually more likely to come, but it's going to be just at an extremely difficult price point that, of course, no common person, you, me, anyone that doesn't make at least a six-figure salary would make, because it would probably cost six figures itself for a TV that rolls like that. So yes, that would be really cool. When we'll get it, who knows? Do you think the S6 Plus is a good alternative to Note 5 without the S Pen? I like the multitasking factor. I can get some multitasking feature on the S6 Plus. I would be happy. Well, really, yes, the Edge Plus is for people that really just didn't use the S Pen. If you don't use the S Pen, the Edge Plus is the one you should go with, quite frankly. It's just that simple. And really, I mean, I've been around a long time, and I've heard different note takers. I've heard people that like, I can't live without the S Pen, and I've heard plenty that like, I never use the S Pen. I've never used it. I just don't use it. So that's perfect for them. For the Edge Plus, that's very good for them. In terms of the Edge Plus, the main thing I like about it is just how quickly I can switch between the apps. So when I go to my apps, I can just go swipe over, and just to kind of show you, I can go quickly between all of my apps, simple and easily, very easily between all my apps. So it works really well in just terms, and I didn't want to show my screen just because I have a bunch of stuff on there right now. But you really can just switch between them so quickly. So that's a big part of it, is that that's a really great feature, and it's one that I really do love about the Edge. If you, again, don't want an S Pen and you want the lightest, thinnest smartphone on the market, that's the Edge Plus, plain and simple. Plus, it looks cool. Let's just face it, the Edge screen looks cool. That's why most people buy it to begin with. How useful is the Edge screen been? I really do like it. I really love the ability to switch between the apps. I find that very useful to, in all cases. The contacts thing, I still don't use as much as I probably would, just because I forget the contacts are there, but I remember the apps are there. Like when I need to switch to another app, I'm like, oh, boop, boop. And like it's instinctive now. However, the contacts are still not instinctive to me. Like I still like go through a bunch and I'm like, oh yeah, I can just swipe. Like I forget that a lot of the times. I go to the dialer by the time I remember that I can just do the Edge contacts. So I'm not used to the Edge contacts as well, because I never use them on my S6 Edge. I will tell you that. On the S6 Edge, I never use the Edge screen. In terms of for the Edge people, I use an iClock every night. However, for the Edge apps, I do use that on a daily basis, so I do find that useful. Can we get the Note Edge Plus? I would get that. Yeah. No, I mean, the reason, again, Samsung really wanted to see it, and it's a test. It really is a test. Samsung was like, let's see if we give them a Note without a pen, how will it sell? And I can tell you, I went to a couple of stores and talked to some of my friends and everything like that around this launch weekend. I was just asking them, hey man, which one's selling more? And I got a mixed bag. I really did. Some were like, oh man, the Note 5, that's always sold. Others were like, no one wants the Note. We're only selling the Edge Plus. So I thought that was pretty interesting that Samsung, I feel, is getting it right in that sense. I do think it's a shame, though. I still think the Edge Plus would do better if it was the same price point as the Note. Will Samsung end up dropping the price point? That's interesting. I'm really curious to see. What do you prefer, the Edge Plus and a 5? So which one do I prefer between the Edge Plus and the Note 5? So I always preface this before saying I had a Note series all for the last year since the Note 2. I've always had a Note. So I've always had the Note. When the S6 Edge came out, that was the first time that I used my primary line to switch away from the Note. So I always have a secondary line to test out whatever phone I'm sent, right? But I switched my primary line away from a Note for the first time in about 2.5 years. Because of that, I missed the S Pen like crazy. I really, really missed the S Pen. So because of that, I will say I missed. That's why I chose to go with the. That's why I would say the Note 5 is the one I prefer right now because I miss so many of the S Pen features that it really I missed it. I missed it like crazy. Now, will that be different later? That's the question. I don't know. I do like the Edge screen. I do use it on a daily basis on my secondary phone. But the reason why, again, I would say the Note 5 is simply because I missed having the S Pen. I use the highlight feature of the S Pen every day. So basically, I can highlight text, copy that, and paste it. And that is something that I find invaluable. I really missed it. And do you think the Note 5 and what do I think of the Note 5 as seeing as a few things have been removed? The only thing, I'm over the SD card and battery. I'm complete. First of all, I didn't care about the removable battery. I really didn't. My Note has always lasted more than a day, and that's fine for me. The fact that Samsung has a fast battery pack now too, which I will get as soon as it comes out, I'm good. I can take that with me, charge it super quick. Mophie's even designing a case for it as well. I don't care about the battery. I don't care. And I charge it every night on the wireless charger. My battery will never die. My battery will never go bad, either today or 3 years from now. It'll still have the same battery life. Everyone else that charges their phone overnight without a wireless charger, your battery is going to die in a year. It's the truth. So I didn't care about the removable battery. The memory card took some getting used to. However, I am pretty used to it now. And finally, the IR blaster is the thing that I miss now because I've never not had a phone without it since I think it was I think I misquoted that, by the way, too, on the first impressions video. I think it's the S3. I believe it was the S4 that had the IR blaster for the first time. And yeah, I fell in love with it. I've used it on every single phone I've had. Not only does Samsung not have it on their new phones, they don't have it on their new tablets. Because I'm reviewing a new tablet from Samsung and it doesn't have the IR blaster. So yes, I do miss the IR blaster. That's one thing I will say immediately right now. I do miss it. Evil, what's an app to send high quality videos by MMS, even if they are short clips? Um, See, I have the international versions of the phones. So they have something really cool that unfortunately I've not gotten to see yet if the US ones do not have it, but I can tell you that the T-Mobile one doesn't have it because my friend has T-Mobile and I just asked him and he doesn't have it. The enhancing messaging. This allows you to send high quality text messages and you can keep them at their original size. So you can keep them at their original size to be able to show them, and it's really cool. So you can keep it at the high resolution. You can send videos, you can send everything, and it's fine. Unfortunately, that's not really in the US. I can send it to anyone though, so that's what I use. Now, what about people that can't use that? Well, unfortunately, there's just not as an easy solution. I generally send things through Hangouts, and I'm usually fine that way. I send photos and videos through Hangouts, but that would require your person you're sending to also have Hangouts, because if you just replace the text message, you can't send it over a large file through text message. So yeah, that's the main. Those are the main two that I use personally. I haven't looked as much into others, you know. I mean, for a person that doesn't have that, like I usually just upload to Dropbox and send them a link. That's probably my go-to one to send to someone else. If they're away, if they're there, obviously I just Wi-Fi direct it to them. Simple and easy. But yeah, those are the. I can't say anything off the top of my head because I use those two. I understand that not everyone has access to those, so I do understand that, but I know there was some before, but I don't think. I'm trying to see. More features, more control, more. No, you can send those. We can't send that. Yeah, none that I could see off the top of my head when looking through a couple of them that can send a large. Yeah, nothing I can see right off the top of my head that you can send those kind of things through, at least at this time, just by looking up really quickly. So yeah, I would say nothing right away. Do you know why there's no IR blaster in the Note 5 and Galaxy Edge Plus? I can tell you every person I've asked at Samsung cannot answer that question. Every person at Samsung I've asked cannot answer that question. Why is there no IR blaster? Did they think no one was using that? I don't know, but everyone obviously got pissed off, and so hopefully, I'm hoping, actually what I really hope is, I hope that if there really is a Note 5 active coming out, I want the IR blaster back. That is the number one feature I would take. It would be, don't get me wrong, would it be cool to have a 2-day battery life as opposed to my 1-day battery life with the Note 5? Of course. But the one thing I love is to have the IR blaster back. I really do miss that one. And it'd probably be the number one reason I would buy the Note 5 Active, just for the IR blaster. But yeah, I think I'm hoping this is something that Samsung corrects on their next phones, because obviously a lot of people were upset and they didn't understand why, especially when we had it on the S6. If we had it on the S6, there's no really reason not to have it on the Note. I mean, you have more space. You can fit it in there. So we'll see. I know, what's the company? Peel Smart Remote. They're the ones who control the software for the IR Blaster. They're pretty pissed. They were upset that Samsung obviously left their software, and in turn the hardware that can use the software, out of it. It's really annoying. So yes. Any idea on how fast wireless charging work? Does it use both? So now this was from someone at Samsung. How accurate it is or not, this is just how they explain it to me. So I'm not saying that this is something I read from Samsung and that they broke down the science of it. So let me preface it with that. And this is something that someone explained to me. But essentially how it is there is double the receivers on here. So not meaning PMA, PMA and key wireless charging, but that there's two receivers of, and I believe it's actually only key wireless charging or QI wireless charging that is the faster way of charging. It's not PMA. So that's important to note first, is that if there's no PMA form of faster charging, as how it was explained to me. The QI wireless charging is basically they have two simultaneous receivers that are connected to the battery, and then the pad, the new wireless charging pad that Samsung is going to carry, is going to have two senders. So it's just basically doing double the work of sending the wireless charging. So it's twice as fast, essentially. And that's it will charge, the fast wireless charging will charge in 120 minutes. But again, I believe that's only QI or key wireless charging that it is, and it's only the one that Samsung's selling. So yes, that is how it was explained to me. I'm not saying that is definite, and I'm not saying that that's the science. I would say that I would say that's a definite if it is, but that's just how it was explained to me. Do you think Apple will get the program and get a stylus on Plus series? No, absolutely not. The Plus series will not have a stylus. You want to know what Apple's going to release or announce on the 9th? So we have about 16 days left before Apple's announcement. Apple is going to release a 12 megapixel rear camera and a 3 megapixel camera on the front with their new Force Touch technology that was on the Apple Watch on their phone. That's what they're going to release. Those are the three new features that will be on the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus. Man, that is why I'm calling it the Edge Plus, by the way, now, because I can only imagine when it's you mean the S6 Plus or the 6S Plus? It's just going to be annoying. So that's why I'm calling it the Edge Plus now to avoid all that later. So it'll be the Edge Plus and the S6 Plus. So yes, that is all Apple is going to have on this time around. Will they have something later on? Who knows? But yes. Do you think other companies will adopt the Loop Pay technology? No. Samsung owns Loop Pay. Samsung bought them. They own the patent to be able to use your phone at any credit card machine. There is no chance in hell they're giving that to anyone else. Just not even a chance. It just no. And it's going to be apparent when Samsung. Now, if I were Samsung, for the love of God, first of all, you need to hire a new marketing director because your current one sucks. They fired, or no, not that they fired, but the last marketing director, the genius who made, all those make fun of Apple commercials last year and the year before and the year before that, left the company, and they've hired a new one, and it's just been garbage this year. Samsung marketing has been garbage this year. But if they really kick up their marketing campaign next month when Samsung Pay comes out, they can own this payment market. They really can. And it's just because you can use it 90% of places instead of just 10% of places, which is Apple Pay, Google Wallet, Google Pay, or Android Pay, which they're coming out with now. All these things are garbage because they use NFC and no one uses it at the terminals. But Samsung Pay can work everywhere, just like Loop Pay could. So yes, they can fully just own the payment market with this technology because they bought the company that patented the technology. Will they do it? We'll see. But no, they're not giving it to anyone else because they can own it. They really just can. So yeah. I've already answered the question just in. How can I transfer pics, videos, music from my SD card to the Note 5? Use Samsung Smart Switch. Whatever old phone you have, if you use Samsung Smart Switch from your old phone to the Note 5, you'll actually see your music, videos, and pictures on the SD card part. So it'll be like built-in storage, SD card storage, and you can highlight the SD card storage and then transfer it right over to your Note 5. That would be the quickest and easiest way to transfer everything over. The long way would be doing it through a flash drive or a computer. But yeah, that would be the quickest way. Is just doing Smart Switch, and it'll transfer everything over from your SD card to your new Note 5. Just that simple. Tell me honestly, do you think one single person on the earth who would rather have a slightly thicker phone in favor of a bigger battery? What's the matter with our Korean tummy friends? So I do believe that yes, we would want a bigger battery. And look, if there really is a Note 5 active coming out with a 4100, it means they could have made a bigger battery, right? So it means they could have. I think that they want to keep it thin though, and whether that's a right or wrong choice, obviously in the US we think it's a wrong choice, I would say, but we have to realize at the same time that it's a global market, and some people really don't give a shit about how small your how big your battery is if the phone doesn't look good and feel good in the hand and thin. Case in point, iPhones. iPhones are thin phones that have the worst battery life out of any smartphone. There's no smartphone that has a worse battery life than an iPhone. None. And yet they sell. So that's what they have to compete with. They have to compete with a very large market. So we'll see. But yeah, I agree with you entirely. I agree with you the fact that yes, I would want a thicker phone for a 2-day battery life. Absolutely. The Note 5 already has an all-day battery life, though. I will say that. Like, I never have not gotten close. I think the lowest I've gotten when, was the day I tested it out. I really worked the battery, but it just, I mean, 14 hours of heavy usage, I can easily get through it every day without a problem. I hear Verizon is giving Samsung Pay a hard time. What is that about? So Verizon's annoying, flat out. Verizon's annoying and picky. They really, I feel that Verizon just like they need to just step their game up when it comes to product knowledge, first of all, in their stores, with in terms of that they seem to always think they know like what the customer wants in terms of like bloatware, in terms of like all this stuff. Like I get it. They're trying to sell their crappy services like VZ navigation, which sucks. It sucks. They try to sell those things, but why? I mean, it just, I mean, I get it. You make money off of that. You can make $3 a month off of that every month, but they prefer their own bloatware over things like languages, like putting every language. Carriers are the ones that take that out, right? Like the international versions of phones have it on every single app. Have it on every single language. Every single language is on the international version of phones. However, the US strips that down because they want to save a couple of megabytes and then put their bloatware on there. Their own navigation, their own TV service, their own NFL service, their own NBA service, whatever they put on there, the NASCAR service from Sprint. They put that stuff on there and they take off the languages. I've never understood why. Now Verizon got a huge backlash for saying outright that they would not have Samsung Pay. So they got a huge backlash. And then Verizon representatives were like, whoa. We're in the process of considering it. Bullshit. You didn't want it at all. But when you realize that people actually are going to use this product, you're like, wait a minute, maybe we might want to be in on this. Hold on, let's reevaluate this, which means now they're just going to talk to Samsung about how can we put it on there. That's what happened. Do I think that the next generation of Samsung version 7 phones will be waterproof like the Xperia the Xperia phones? I don't know. I'm not sure what Samsung will do next year. And the reason more so was because this year was such a dramatic change. The entire construction of Samsung changed this year. They went from non-removable, always having removable SD card, removable battery, IR blasters, and now all that's gone. So it's really hard to predict what they will do. Now Sony has proved that you can make a glass phone while still maintaining waterproof, but as far as I know, it's plastic around the sides. And I blame Sony for me not knowing this, since I've repeatedly asked them for an Xperia phone and I've yet to get one from them. But I digress. That, as far as I know, it's plastic on the side. So, and look at the S6 Active. That one was a plastic phone instead of a metal and glass, and they were able to make it water resistant. So can they? I believe so, but I believe it caused some issues, or else Samsung would have probably done it. Although it's kind of curious, right? If they just change the water resistance on next year's phone, would that be it? Would that be enough for hardware design? Because where do you go from here, right? Samsung made such a visual difference between the S5 and the S6. Where do they visually go from here? I'm really curious what you guys want to see. I mean, obviously they can do what they did with the Note 5, right? They can curve the back now. So that's one thing the S6 didn't have. They can curve the back, so it's nice and curvy on the back. They can do that. But what else? What else can they do? It's a really interesting concept. What would Samsung do 6 months from now when the next phone comes out? Because that's approximately how much time we have, right? About 6 months until the next phone comes out from them. What will they do? It's really curious. I'm very curious to see, to be honest. I honestly also think it will be what trends are happening, because we will have to see how is the iPhone going now. What are they doing? What did they make successful? Did LG and HTC come out with a good phone at the end of this year to really compete, and did they have something that really stood out? Those are things that will influence, at least if not the hardware, it will influence the software. So I'm really curious to see. As I can spy on WhatsApp for someone else. Not sure what you mean. If as I can spy on WhatsApp for someone else, I'm not really sure what you mean. Wow, Joseph. I don't know sure how I pronounce that. I'm not really sure what you mean by that line though. All right, guys. I think we'll call that it for today. We went about an hour as usual lately. So thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry about all the technical issues that we had getting started today. Just a mess. Thank you guys always though for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.